Hey everyone, I'm Mike DeLong, and I'm here to tell you my thoughts on everything I watched in June. As always, I'll give you my reviews from least favorite to most favorite. Last month, I was inspired by a YouTuber I watched called The Awards Contender, and I watched every Best Picture nominee from the year 2000. Chocolat, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Erin Brockovich, Gladiator, and Traffic. Along with that, I watched two other movies that happened to be nominated in 1979, a nostalgia pick I watched with my kids, and a movie from this year. Let me know what you think. First up, we have All That Jazz, and I gave it 2.5 stars. All That Jazz was a big disappointment for me. I've heard of people loving this movie, but it just didn't work. Bob Fosse directs this loosely autobiographical movie, where a director, in the process of finishing a film and staging a new musical, deals with the stresses of his professional and personal life, which he mangles. The cast is pretty good for the most part. I think the story suffers here from being autobiographical. Fosse helped write and direct this story about his life, so it's a lot of navel-gazing. It would be interesting to see someone else remake this movie with a critical eye instead of praise upon praise heaped upon the main character. Or maybe I should just watch Fosse Verdun. I was also wondering why this movie won Best Production Design. The main settings are an apartment and a rehearsal space. It isn't until later that the major fantasy musical numbers take place, but still, I was underwhelmed. The early fantasy elements of the movie with Jessica Lange didn't work for me either. This isn't a movie I'd recommend, unless you love musicals or have some kind of attachment to Fosse and want him to tell you how great he is and how much women love him. Next up is Fly Away Home, and I gave it 3 stars. Fly Away Home is your standard feel-good family movie. The cast includes Jeff Daniels and a young Anna Paquin. After Paquin's Amy loses her mother and moves in with her father, a clutch of goose eggs are orphaned. She raises them, but they need to learn how to migrate for the winter. I think that this is a middle-of-the-road movie. There's not much to praise, but there's not much to criticize either. I watched it with my kids, and they enjoyed it enough. Is this a movie I'd rewatch without my kids? No, hardly. Is it one that I'm glad I showed them? Sure. Breaking Away comes next, and I also gave it 3 stars. I thought Breaking Away was a decent coming-of-age sports movie. This movie has very early performances from Dennis Quaid and Daniel Stern, who play supporting roles. The story centers on a group of 18-year-old boys from Bloomington, Indiana, who have no plans for their future. They're in conflict with the college kids who treat them as second class, and that can also affect the way they see themselves. One boy, Dave, loves cycling and is obsessed with Italian racers, so much so that he adopts an Italian accent, which gets him into a little trouble when he meets and courts a college girl who thinks he's an exchange student. The movie culminates with a big bike race. This movie suffers from a few things. The story was built from 2 scripts, and it shows from time to time, despite winning the Best Original Screenplay Oscar. There are also some well-trod story beats throughout the movie, and the tone is a bit disjointed as well. I would say this movie is skippable to most except for the true completists out there, but I did enjoy watching it. Next, we have our first Best Picture nominee, Chocolat, and I gave it 3.25 stars. Chocolat is fine. There's nothing horrible about this movie, but there's nothing great about it either. A woman, Vianne, and her daughter drift into a small town to set up a chocolate shop. It's Lent, so she crosses the religious town leader, who's quite the tight ass. He unsuccessfully tries to get the town to steer clear of her shop, but she's helping the townspeople. When another group of wanderers show up in town, Vianne is the only one who shows them any hospitality, which puts her more at odds with the town leader. The performances are good, but not great. We've seen stories like this, but it was told well enough. The only reason this movie was nominated for 5 Oscars was because Miramax didn't have another contender at all that year. The only nomination I would agree with entirely was Best Score. Again, this isn't a bad movie, but it's not a great movie that I want to return to again and again. Plus, there are other movies that I would have liked to have seen nominated for Best Picture besides this one. Next, I've got Ballerina, and I gave it 3.5 stars. I think I liked Ballerina more than most people did. I didn't love it, but I thought it was an adequate entry into the world of John Wick. Ana de Armas plays Eve, a woman who trains to become an assassin for the same family as John Wick. When she finds a lead on the organization that killed her father, she goes rogue to get her revenge. De Armas is good in her role, as well as the cast that surrounds her. The action is what you would expect from any John Wick movie. There was one particular scene where 2 adversaries fought with weapons I've never seen in a fight scene like that before. The story is pretty middle of the road. It's easy to see that it wasn't originally written as a John Wick movie, and they did kind of shoehorn him into it. For the most part, it works, but if they expand the world again, I hope they do a better job. There was a character death I really hated too, but I won't go into that. Is this the best entry into the John Wick series? No. But it's not the worst either. I recommend this for anyone into the series or action movies, and I'd welcome another one as well. Please like this video and subscribe for future reviews, and to find out what's coming to a streaming service near you. Next up is Traffic, and I gave it 4 stars. Traffic is a well-made movie that has a lot going on, from scenes in Mexico and California to scenes in Ohio and Washington, D.C. Despite all the locations and storylines, it's pretty easy to follow. Soderbergh does something to help by washing out the Mexico scenes with yellow and the DC scenes with blue. But only sometimes do those colors bleed into the California scenes with yellow and the Ohio scenes with blue, which I thought was weird. Traffic is about the drug trade and the war on drugs. Michael Douglas is the new US drug czar, but his daughter is a user. Benicio del Toro is a Mexican police officer who gets wrapped up with the cartel. Catherine Zeta-Jones is a suburban housewife who finds out her husband imports drugs from Mexico. All this is interesting and comes together well, but the movie does get preachy at times. Also, Zeta-Jones' character makes a strange choice to involve herself in her husband's business, and that's where it falls apart a little bit for me. The performances are great, and the story is good, but not one you want to revisit over and over again. Erin Brockovich is next, and I also gave it 4 stars. Erin Brockovich is the funniest movie to be nominated for Best Picture in 2000, and it's rare to have a movie that could be considered a comedy in that category. Julia Roberts plays Brockovich, a single working-class mother who needs a job. She begins to work for a lawyer and digs into a lawsuit with some strange features. This small suit becomes a big deal. The cast is good, especially Roberts, who won the Best Picture Oscar. The script and direction are good as well. The subject matter of this film is probably the most important of the 5 nominated movies. This one is a very easy recommendation from me. Next up is Gladiator, and I gave it 4 3/4 stars. Gladiator still holds up for me. I remember loving this movie from the first day I saw it. Russell Crowe plays Maximus, a general in the Roman army. The emperor is dying and privately names Maximus heir. Commodus, the emperor's son, played by Joaquin Phoenix, kills his father and takes control. He tries to have Maximus killed. Eventually, Maximus becomes a gladiator and tries to get revenge. The action throughout the movie is great. The story is interesting, though there are some strange things that aren't explained. Maximus is called Spaniard, but it also seems that he grew up with Commodus and his sister Lucilia, leading to a poor love story between her and Maximus. The minor characters are good, but they have little to do. I always remember disliking Phoenix in this movie, but I enjoyed his performance this time around. Crowe was great. I loved his Best Actor win on Oscar night, but then I saw Castaway and Pollock, and I must say that Tom Hanks and my pick for Best Actor, Ed Harris, were much better in their movies. Gladiator isn't a perfect movie, but it's very good and easy to rewatch. I don't think I'll wait another 20 years before I revisit this one. Finally, we have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and I also gave it 4 3/4 stars. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is the best movie nominated for Best Picture in the year 2000. However, I do think I enjoyed watching Gladiator just a little bit more. Li Mu-bai decides to give up his legendary sword. It's stolen by a young warrior who has trained in secret. Li and his friend and love interest, Yu Shu Lian, must get it back and kill the young warrior's master, who killed Li's master so many years ago. Everything in this movie is great, but I do have some issues. The acting is wonderful by all the leads. The cinematography is beautiful. The script is really good, except for an extended flashback about the young warrior and their lover in the desert. It was way too long and interrupts the flow of the story. The love story between Li and Yu is great. The fight scenes still hold up for the most part. The fight scenes that take place in the treetops are still wonderful, but don't quite hold up for me. Crouching Tiger is a movie everyone should see. If you haven't seen it, find it. If you have, go back and enjoy it again. That'll do it for this review video. What nominee from 2000 is your favorite? I know that the awards contender would disagree with me on Gladiator, but he would probably agree with me on Crouching Tiger. If reviews aren't your thing, come back in a couple weeks to see what's coming out and streaming in August. Thanks, I'll see you next time.